Hello, my name is Matheus Bueno, and this is my Theory of Knowledge podcast. And today we're going to be analyzing the prompt ways of knowing our check on our instinctive judgments. It asks, to what extent do I agree with this statement? First of all, it is important to understand what are the ways of knowing. Ways of knowing are a type of categorization, by definition, used to find the source of the knowledge, meaning to organize the different places where we get our knowledge from and where it's apparent to us, and it can be extracted and applied to our everyday lives. In theory of knowledge, we study the 8 ways of knowing, which are language, sense of perception, emotion, reason, imagination, faith, and memory. It's also important to break down what are the instinctive judgments, which are another thing that is applied to our everyday lives and can be considered naturally present in each and all of us, whether or not we are able to notice its presence. It is kind of like our first subconscious reaction to an external stimulus coming from the environment that surrounds us, meaning that we don't really control it, but we react to it. The main idea and concept behind the statement that ways of knowing are a check on our instinctive judgments is that one thing helps shape the other, meaning that it's the source of accountability and it helps set the senses of parameters for the other. Ways of knowing can depend on the time and context in which they're implied, while the instinctive judgments are more of a natural and personal response to the environment than to the time and context itself. An example of that can be seen in language, which can change according to your location in the world, even in the time period where you're at. We often classify the most spoken languages of the world, such as English, Spanish, and French, to be more important than the others. So in case you're in a foreign country like China, you have to speak English or you have signs in English so that the outside people can understand it, assuming that they would not learn this language. Another thing that shows how our ways of knowing help shape our instinctive judgments is how our sense of perception and emotions can change according to the type of situation we're dealing with. Our sense of perception, and in this case our emotions, changing is kind of what our instinctive judgments are a quick and natural response for. But in this case, our ways of knowing are a knowledge-based response to an occasion, where we tend to bring back things we had learned from previous experience through our lives and how we felt and reacted to those things without completely judging the situation itself. Our sense of perception relates to the way we use and understand our senses, such as touch, taste, smell, hearing, and sight, or even our sense of heat, sense of pain, movement, balance, of hunger and thirst. Now that we talk about all these concepts, let's put it all into a real life example, where we react, think, and consequently act. A person in the heavy traffic is surrounded by other individuals that are also driving. This person can get very angry at the others that could or could not be doing something wrong or considered wrong. Their reaction is based on the person's instinctive judgment. It's what makes it call people's names, saying things that would not usually say in its everyday life. At the same time, those instincts cause the person to act more based on emotion, in this case anger, than in its others' ways of knowing. They are left aside at this specific moment. This same person might get home at this day and think about what happened during the situation and conclude whether things they did were truly necessary, and that is when their reason starts acting as a check on their instinctive reaction to curse and act more based on their feelings of anger towards the surroundings that at the time seemed way more appropriate than it actually was. In conclusion, our ways of knowing are always acting alongside our instinctive judgments, but not all of them at the same time. Depending on the situation, some might stand out more than the others, causing the person to have the reaction determined at the moment and not in a general sense.